boy tapping with the pop.
Y'all tune into the Pop Podcast. And guess what? There's an episode of me on
and
it.
you are tuned into the Pop Podcast.
And with the Pop Podcast with my boy Tigmatic. You hear me? It's going down.
To follow the Pop Podcast with Tigmatic.
That's that number one.
That's that number one.
Trends. It's about owning your presence. Style isn't about following trends. It's about owning your presence. Welcome to Norche Demore Boutique, where bold fashion meets effortless online shopping. Discover statement-making styles for men and women, carefully curated to help you stand out wherever life takes you. From everyday essentials to unforgettable looks, every item brings you closer to confidence delivered right to your door. Stylish, never basic, because at Norche Demore Boutique, there are no rules, just style. Shop now at NorcheDemoreBoutique.com and wear what moves you.
Streets of Philly, playgrounds. You know what they call him?
What?
Black Jesus.
American hustler. Tone Trump. West Philly to the world. Let's win. Bunch of shooters with no aim. They just happy to be spraying. They praying that I fell. I'm just happy that they praying. Had a convo with my son. He only 3, but he's so smart. Told him only fear law and stay away from all these marks. Walking through the vibe, I got Versace on. They ain't really one, see the Aki on. I trust the cutter, stay away from suckers. If it ain't the Trumps, it's the forces or the butters. 10 toes down, I'm hustling like you should be. Rich Muslim, know the feds won't book me. And the sprinter talking money with my ox. They tryin' by the bar, I'm tryin' by the block. Real estate, feel the hate. Before the deal, I've been a great. I'm still a great, you still hating. Penthouse suite, OJ and turkey bacon. And I need the grits with the cheese in it. Big boy rollie with the freeze in it. Weird niggas always trying to talk that rap shit. Me and Low in the back talking trap shit.
West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's where I spend most of my days. The summers is hot, the winters is cold. Welcome to my ghetto. West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's where I spend most of my days. The summers is hot, the winters is cold.
welcome to my ghetto. Mother shit. They kill at will. Fresh Prince of the ghetto, man, I feel like Will. Nitty home, she home, now we just need kill. Inshallah, make dua for the appeal. This ain't a rap song, this is real life. This ain't that rapper jury, baby, this is real ice. VVS's, look at the clarity. I'm a Muslim dying, look how they stare at me. Another sock drive, that's for charity. I'm the greatest, stop comparing me.
Say a prayer for my Akis in themselves. May Allah have mercy and keep us out the hell. Say a prayer for my Akis in themselves. May Allah have mercy and keep us out of hell. Say a prayer for my Akis in themselves. May Allah have mercy and keep us out the hell. Say a prayer for my Akis in themselves. May Allah have mercy and keep us out of hell. West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's where I spend most of my days. The summers is hot, the winters is cold. Welcome to my ghetto. West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's where I spend most of my days. The summers is hot, the winters is cold. Welcome to my ghetto.
Coming in from the door, man, on folks them. Y'all already know, cuz. Yeah, 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 hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, yeah. I rock all this right like I'm godly. Sushi gon' come with wasabi. Fresh off the steps of the porch. I walk out, get in a Porsche. Know that I'm using the force. Know that I mastered the course. Known as the plug and the source. Haters, they feeling remorse. This for my dogs in court. That's facing the judge and the jury. My brother, he made it in sports. And that's why he rock all that jewelry. She can remember me now. Know that my vision is blurry. I got these racks on me now. Know that the money done cured me. Know that I'm lit in my city. Know that I'm hot. Know that we poppin', man. Everybody chasing that cloud. Running their mouth. Know I really feed the game. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hold up. We on the beaches and right off the coast. Down here in Florida, we doing the most. The hustle on South Beach is like a LeBron. You call it a pound and we call it a bomb. We at the lick and I'm working with chicken. Shout out my nigga from Memphis, they chicken. On my dog and themselves, know I know that they listening. Yeah, I'm on a new level just like I'm Hendrix. Straight from the gutter, we come from the trenches. We ball on these niggas, they sit on the bench. They using the style and I swear I ain't lending. We pushing the P and the P is for profit. They watching and listening, now look how they copy. They hate and respect it, but gotta acknowledge me. Know that a nigga be doing a lot. Know that I'm lit in my city. Know that I'm hot. Know that we poppin', man. Everybody chasing that cloud, running their mouth. Know I really feed the game.
Yo, what's up, y'all? You're now tuned into another episode of the Pot Podcast with Tigmatic. Hey, listen, we here, y'all. We moving and booming, and as always, this episode is brought to you by Collywood TV, Collywood Radio, Dollar Radio, Going In Radio, 105.7 The Phase Atlanta, DemoniBrand.com, Norshade Demore Boutique. We moving and booming. And as always, this episode is also brought to you by Vibes Beverages LLC. We here, y'all. Hey, listen, I'm feeling great today. It's the hump day. You know, we got to get over the hump. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's what they say, at least. Me, I'm a little energized because I'm here to have a discussion. That's a chill discussion, a calm discussion but also a heartfelt discussion. Excuse me. I've been running around today, y'all. So listen, if y'all catch me stuttering, listen, just charge it to the game today because it's one of them days. You feel me? But listen, we here, we moving and booming as always, and I'm here with my comrade, BLM Memphis. You know, BLM grassroots Memphis. Let me say it the right way. You dig? Because we gotta put that grassroots on there. We don't want to be affiliated with them poo putts over there that's doing what they doing. Yeah, I had to take the Ace and Mitch word, the poo putts. We ain't messing with them today. You feel me? But listen, she's here. She's here to talk about the killing of her son, Jalen McKenzie, who was murdered by police, and she is here to tell her story and her son's story. I have my comrade, my friend, Ashley McKenzie.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, what's going on?
You tell me.
Hey, listen, I'm glad to have you here. You know, welcome to the podcast, first of all.
Hold on, the sound is going down.
I'm glad that you're here. You know, we tried to get this going a while back, but we didn't get it going, and now we're able to get it going. And I'm so thankful that we're able to have this conversation where you get to tell your son's story. So for those that don't know, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself first, and then talk when you're ready to talk. And then, you know, I'll have questions as we go through, but I don't start right away about these type of things, you know. So it's important that you give them.
I guess I'll go ahead and say who I am.
Yes,
again, I am Ashley McKenzie Smith. I am the mother of Jalen McKenzie. He was killed by Memphis police in December 16th, 2022. So what do I do every day? We organize for Black Lives Matter Grassroots Memphis, and then we also have a nonprofit that they name monuments that remember loved ones that were killed through systematic injustice, whether or not it is gun violence, police violence, suicide, overdose. We remember and advocate for everyone. So a little bit about Jalen. Jalen was visiting Memphis for the holidays. We're from Atlanta, born and raised from Atlanta. His dad's side, they're from Memphis. And he was just visiting for the holidays, visiting his siblings. And I always say wrong time, wrong place. The boys, they were going to the gas station, decided that they were going to pull into a plaza that was closed at the time. The police saw them coming in.
Can you hear me?
Put the white light on them, and the driver of the car drove out of the parking lot. When the driver realized that the police was following them, he ran a red light. So that started a police chase. They crashed into a nearby park. All boys got out and ran. They want to say that Jalen had an AR when he got out the car. And he dropped it supposedly and kept running. And then after that, they said that Jalen shot at them and they returned fire, killing Jalen. Well, it's so many. So, I mean, when we first got into investigating Jalen's story, my son's story, we really couldn't get much help because of the narrative that was put out on him about him having a gun. So he has one of those really complex cases. In the video, you do not see Jalen shoot at the officer at any time. The officer that actually shot Jalen cut his body camera off right after roll call. So we don't have all the footage that we typically would have had if he would have had his body camera on that night. One of the officers that was training him, because he was new, he was only 5 months on the force when he shot Jalen. But the officer that was training him is a National Guard. And he actually over this way. Can you see me?
There you go.
Okay, that's better.
I was trying to alert you, but I don't know if you could hear me while you was talking.
Okay. Is this better?
I don't remember it's 2 screens watching you.
Okay. All right. So the National Guard was actually training that gentleman that night, and his body camera footage captured a little bit, not a whole lot, because we're talking about 11:45, 11 o'clock at night, so it's really dark. It's not many cameras or many lights that was out there near the park, which is crazy. So we don't get too much footage, but the footage that we did get is so redacted. It's missing so many pieces. Like, you don't see the 4 boys get out the car. All you see is Jalen. Jalen was the passenger in the car. So I don't know why we don't see the driver or the other 3 boys that were in the car as well. Then they say that he had an AR. Then you want to say that he had he actually shot a 45. Jalen is like a $130, 130, about 5'7", 5'8". So he's not a big guy at all. And they saying that he had an AR, he had a 45. That's a lot for somebody to run with. And it's just so many questions that we still have, even though we're toward the stages we're in litigation and things like that right now. So there's some things that I can't speak on, but I will speak on the things that are already out in the public because you can Google it.
Yeah.
So all that's kind of like free game when it comes to Jalen's case. But one of the things that I think that we still have a question about is that when the first officer walked up on Jalen, there was no visible gun. But when the second set of officers came on the scene, then a gun appeared, and they all had different statements of where they said Jalen had a gun at. They said it was in his right hand, but Jalen was laying on the ground with his hands behind his head. So there's so many moving pieces, so many questions that we have. We're pushing up on Jalen's almost 4 years of him, of his anniversary. And we still do not have a gunshot residue test. So even though I advocate for so many people, I'm one of those moms that's like, make it make sense. So if it's not making sense, and I feel like I have more questions after seeing the body camera footage than I did before, because nothing is adding up. You didn't call the traffic stop in. You didn't call the shooting in. You didn't call for aid for Jalen. It took a whole nother set of officers to come on the scene to render aid to Jalen. So after you shot him, and Jalen was shot 5-6 times from the back, the front, and the side. So you didn't render aid, nor did you call for him any type of assistance. You see on the body camera footage where they just literally was talking and walking over him. And I knew my baby's last breath is when I saw his hands drop from behind his head and it fell to his side.
So you were there. So you said when you seen him, he still was alive when
on the body camera footage, he is still. He's still breathing. I can't really say as far as like how long, because it looks like there's some footage that was cut.
Yeah.
So we can't really say exactly the time, but I know there's about 2 minutes that's missing around that time. So I think he hung on as long as he could. I think if we
How long did it take for you to get the footage?
Huh?
How long did it take for you to get the footage?
Oh my goodness. Ooh, we had to go through a whole lot to get that body camera footage. Initially, because we are not citizens of Memphis, citizens of Tennessee, they will not release any information to you. So we had to get a lawyer like right off the bat. And then it was hard to get an attorney because nobody wants to take a case that has something to do, potentially may have something to do with a gun. They don't want to take those type of cases. So I became Jalen's first lawyer, Jalen's first investigator, Jalen's first everything. So Jalen passed December 16th, 2022. We didn't get body camera footage until September 2023. And the only reason that we got it then is because it was leaked that the officer did not have his body camera on. And at that time, we only knew of one officer's name. They wouldn't release any. Well, that was August 2023 when it was leaked who the actual shooter was, which officer shot him. Then in September 2023, they decided not to press charges to the on the officer because they said they couldn't tell who shot first. But my question is to that is, how are you even saying Jalen shot when you still can't produce me a gunshot residue test almost 4 years later?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. First of all, my condolences on what happened to your son, because
I don't know why it seemed like you low. Let me see if I can cut the volume
like
up.
I'm low. You can't
Yeah.
hear me? You saying
I don't know if it's on my
up,
end.
Tig.
Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you, but you still low. I think it's on my end. I don't know how to. I
Turn
cut
your
my
volume
volume
up on your
up.
phone.
Let's see. Maybe I can do this. Hold on.
Turn your volume up. That might work.
Yeah, I have it up, but I'm wondering, is it down somewhere else? Because it's up to the max. Let me just check my settings right quick. That's crazy.
I'll turn my mic up if you need to hear me a
Okay.
little better. No problem.
Settings. Volume.
Can you hear me now? Is that better? Do I sound like I'm louder?
So I hear you really good now.
You hear me really good now? I turned the mic up some for you so that way you can hear me a bit better.
Thank you.
No problem. So, like I said, my condolences on what happened to your son.
Thank you.
It's a sad thing that, police decide to shoot instead of doing their job like they're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have to hear another story, but you're a part of, I don't want to say, I've heard, others say this, part of a group that, you don't really want to be a part of.
Exactly.
And it's very hard to deal with that on a daily basis. So my question to you is, what was your relationship like with Jalen when he was growing up?
Oh, me and Jalen are very close. So I had Jalen. I'm one of those teenage moms. I was one of those stereotypes that you were trying not to be a stereotype. So me and Jalen had a very close relationship. I got pregnant with Jalen at 16 and had him at 17. So we grew up together. So he could talk to me, I could talk to him. We did everything together. I was one of those moms that I prefer, like I did graduate from high school, but I didn't go to college till he got a little bit older because I wanted to be one of those hands-on moms. I wanted to go on the field trips. I wanted to be in the classroom and volunteer. And I would work temp jobs just so I could have that flexibility because I had a really good support system when it came to my son. So I was able to do those things. Jalen never needed anything. He was a very spoiled child. Some of our favorite things, we're movie people, we're music folks, so we could just sit and watch movies. We could just sit and listen to music. Jalen loved music so much that he wanted to do music. That was one of the things that he was working on. So at home, he had his own studio equipment in our garage. He got it all set up and things like that. I would sit out there with him while he recording and doing things like that. We're big foodies. So we would eat out, like we would go to Ingles and just go to the salad bar together. Like we did a lot together. And one of Jalen's last text messages was to me was like, "Mom, I am you and you are me." And that just shows you like how close. It's like we mirrored each other in so many different ways. And it was just funny because even when Jalen went on this whole spiritual journey, he was on his spiritual journey before I got on mine. And when I found out that he was on his, we was sitting and watching TV. We was watching a reel. I would call him a conspiracy theory. That's what a lot of people probably would call him. So we was watching the reel, and he was like, "Mom, she's not real." I'm like, "What you mean she's not real? She on TV. She's a person." He's like, "No, she's a this and she's that." And then we just started talking about spiritual stuff. And then he was like, "Mom, I didn't know you was on a spiritual journey." And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't know you was on a spiritual journey." So he was so busy. He thought I would look down on him. But I had just it, we're not, I wouldn't say religious people, even though we come from a really religious background. We're 7-Day Adventists. And so our religious background was so strict coming up that I didn't want him to grow up not wanting to know about religion or spirituality. I wanted him to choose which direction he went and he'd be comfortable with it. Whereas me growing up, we was in the church every day of the week, ushering, choir, that's just how we old school Southern, way of doing things. And I wanted something different for him. And when I read his journal, because he has a journal, I just look at the things that he was saying at 20 years old. Like he was like, one thing he said was, he talks about like the megahertz of what it takes for your body to heal, and why you shouldn't drink sodas. And he talks about Area 51, and he talks about social media and why it's not good to take in so much social media. And one of the things he said that, and this is one of the reasons that we have our organization, Saturday Night Money Mints, is all because of Jalen. He said that one of the thing that he wanted to do in life was he wanted to save people. And when he first did his first journal entry, he was 18 years old. So that just talks about the type of personality he had. He loved crystals and meditation and a lot of holistic. He was really into the holistic lifestyle. I remember him telling me, "Mom, you got to go outside and get some vitamin D so you can open up your third eye." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You know what I'm saying? And so now I find myself making sure that I get out there and get that vitamin D. And it's even comforting because that's one of the things that he told me to do. So I'll just find myself just walking around outside, just looking at the trees, just enjoying nature. Because those are the things that he loved to do.
Oh, that's awesome. So let me ask you a question. If you could describe Jalen in 3 words, what words would they be? And why?
Let's see. 3 words. That's so hard to describe my baby in 3 words. I'm gonna try to do my best. Jalen was a go-getter. And the reason why I say go-getter is because there was nothing that would deter him to getting the job done. Whatever he wanted to do, he set his mind on it. That was it. He was like a pit bull when it came to things. I mean, there was nothing that would stop him. Like, I would be like, "Don't you want to give up?" "Oh, ain't no giving up." So definitely go get her. I find that Jalen now, I would probably say he's very inspirational because of his story and the things that he's leaving behind that we didn't even realize the legacy that he would be leaving behind. And then I would say Jalen was real chill. I remember times on the phone, he would be talking to somebody, I would be mad, and he'll be like, "Why you mad?" You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't raise his voice. He didn't curse. If he curses, it was not very often that he would use profanity. I would get in trouble for cursing. He would be like, "Mom, you don't have to curse." So he was just real chill. He was a real chill child. So I would say go get her. Chill, inspirational. Those are probably my top 3 for him right now.
I like that. So here's my next question too. What was something about Jalen that only his mother would know? This is a good one.
Yeah, so there's probably couple of things. I'm thinking Jalen does have a mean streak. Uh, I remember him as a kid that he was the type of person that you had to do something to him for him to for it to be an issue. Most people didn't know that because he didn't allow you to push him to being upset. But I have seen some episodes when he was like in elementary and things like that, and I'm like, oh my goodness, let me go get my baby. There's something on
Yeah.
him. And I would be the only one that can calm him down. So I'll be like, if he's upset, just give me a call. So, but most people wouldn't know that because Jalen, you didn't see that side of Jalen. It just never came out. He never allowed you to take up or consume that much of his energy where he would have to act out. He was really good at controlling himself when he did. But he did have a streak now. But like I said, you have to really push it. And I mean, you had to really take it there. And
But he was able to exude emotional
he did
intelligence.
a really, really good job. Like he has taught me. Like I say, he don't even know what all he knows because he's in the spiritual realm, but I have learned so much patience. He's taught me so many different life skills. And I always say that my son has taught me more than I have taught him in the 20 years that he was living.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. My condolences once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
He sounds like he was a cool kid.
He was mad cool. Like all the kids loved him. I remember when he first passed, this young lady reached out to me and she said, it's gonna be kind of funny. I ain't gonna tell you the whole story, but she said, well, I'm the one that he was buying diapers for. I said, buying diapers for. So he would give you his last. Like if he can help you, he's gonna help you. And I remember Jalen saying, "Oh, Mom, I'm finna move in with this girl," and I said, "No, you not. You not finna. You not finna move in with no girl." And at this time, he was working part time. I said, "She working full time. She got a baby. You gonna be Cinderella because you working part time and you gonna be taking care of this girl, baby. Then you gonna come back and tell me you got a baby, and now I'm gonna have to deal with this fool." No, you will not be moving in. You're gonna stay right here with your mama.
I hear that.
That boy, he was a really cool kid. Like you didn't hear anything, nobody said anything bad about him. Even from the church, they had all great things to say. The ladies, I remember this lady on the used to ride what's called the mega bus. I'm not the mega bus, the express bus, because we lived in Stockbridge at the time, and there was like no public transportation. So he would sometimes ride the express bus home, and I would pick him up from the location. And when I had to tell the driver, because he was really good friends with the driver of the mega express bus, and I had to tell him, she was like, "You know what? Jaylee used to always let all the ladies off the bus first. He was really a mannerable child and things like that." And I was like, "Oh, I used to be fussing at him, talking about like, what's taking you so long to get off the bus?" He didn't say, "Well, Mama, I was letting the ladies get off first," or he didn't say anything because he wasn't looking for anything from it. It was just that's just his nature. That was just what he did. And so he would let him off the bus, and I'm constantly fussing at him because I got to go back to work. So I'm like, "What's taking you so long? Well, why you always the last one off the bus?" And then I found out after he passed why he was the last one off the bus.
Yeah. Sounds like he was, he was taught by his mama to be a polite person. You know what I'm saying? And that's always a good thing.
Yeah,
but
he's a good kid.
So, a lot of times when somebody died tragically, the public learn how they died before they even learn how they live, right?
Right.
So what do you want people to know about Jalen they may never hear in a news story?
What do I want them to know about Jalen? That Jalen was just like any other child. We didn't have major high expectations. We wanted Jalen to live his life the way he wanted to. Jalen was a very free child. So I want them to know that he loves music, that he loves people, that he would give his last. Um, he wanted to save the world. And I know that the narrative that was put out on Jalen, because there's a gun involved, that all that people say what they want to say. But Jalen come from a very good home. We grew up on the west side of Atlanta. If everybody know what that looks like, that's the rough side. That's where I grew up. And I made sure that he didn't have to see the things I saw. So I moved him to an area where he went to one of the top schools in Atlanta, public schools in Atlanta. He graduated from Grady High School. And if you know where Grady High School, that's in Midtown Atlanta. It's called Midtown High School now. So he was exposed. He did basketball. He did football. He was trained in music.
That's what's up.
Choir. He did Pathfinders at church, which is like a boys scout, Girl Scout thing for Seventh-day Adventists. So he was on a robotics team. He was in marketing at school. Like he did things. He great grades. He wasn't one that had to do a whole lot of studying to ace the test. Really smart, really quiet. He stayed to himself, so he was never just in drama or anything like that. So if you hear his name or something, that's because something went down and it had to go there. But he was quiet. He stayed to himself. Jalen got everything he wanted. And I did that because he deserved it. It wasn't that I was just spoiling my son just to spoil him. But Jalen made the grades. So of course I'm gonna buy you all the video systems and all the shoes and all that stuff because I want you to be rewarded for doing good things. He would cut grass for people. He was clean out people's basements for folks. If you asked him, he had no problem with doing it. You would never hear no out of him. So
I hear that.
So they really took a good kid. They did.
So how do you grieve when the person you're grieving is your child? For somebody who may be going through, exactly what you're going through, what would you say to them?
I would say take one day at a time. Give yourself a lot of grace. It's almost 4 years and I still grieve my son like he just passed yesterday or an hour ago. Because we had a good relationship and I really miss him. He was my only child. So I was really able to connect with him. I didn't have to share my time with anyone else but him. So I would say give yourself grace, give yourself time. I know it's hard to kind of ignore what some people may say on social media. It took me a minute because everybody's saying all these bad things, or you just out for money, or he's been dead for 4 years, almost move on. You hear all these. People just don't know what to say. So I would say give yourself patience, give yourself grace, take it one day at a time. And it's okay to have good days. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to not want to do something today. It's okay to just shut the light off, shut the TV off, and just go to sleep. Sometimes you need that mental reset for you to be able to do what you need to do the next day. Because what we're finding with myself and other moms or other families is that you have so many symptoms of grief and it's brain fog. You can't remember, like I'm a diabetic and I have kidney disorder. When I say I'm the worst at taking care of myself because I'm so busy trying to make sure Jalen's case is together, trying to help other families. So taking that time to do what you need to do for yourself, whether or not it is putting it in a calendar to remember certain things, because you're going to forget. It is normal to forget. It's normal to not want to do. I do a lot of affirmations. That's one of the things I got from my son. So I have affirmations like all on my wall just to remind myself that I'm stronger than what I look like. You know, because sometimes
That's
you
right.
just feel like today just not a good day. And I have the flexibility with my job that I still work remote. And I really thank God for that, because if I had to go in the office, I don't know how that would necessarily turn out because I don't always have good days.
Yeah.
And then I'm really triggered by a lot of things. So, like police lights, triggered. Police sirens, triggered. You know, things
Yeah.
like that. So, just the normal things of just driving sometimes become a hassle. So, give yourself time. Give yourself time. And there's a phrase that people like to say that time heals. When it comes to this, time does not heal. Time helps you cope. There's a
Cool.
difference.
I
Yes.
would agree with that because my
It
mom's been gone almost a year now, and time helps you cope, but it definitely doesn't help you heal.
does not heal. You will forever. It's just like a
But
vase. If
but
the vase is broken, it's shattered. You could put the vase back, but it's always gonna have those cracks. It's
that's
never gonna
right.
go back to the whole piece. So that's just like with a broken heart. You can put the heart back, but it's still gonna have those cracks. So it's not gonna ever heal. It's gonna allow you to cope. You learn how to deal, you learn how to function with time. Time allows you
Yeah.
to be able to do that.
The love of God helps you learn how to cope and deal with the passing of your loved one and missing
Exactly.
them and
Exactly.
how life goes on without them. It's very hard,
It is.
but God gotta carry you through the whole way. If you don't let him carry you, it's gonna get
It
difficult.
it
I'm
will
just
get
say that.
you. And another thing that I always tell people that helped me when it first happened is because I thank God that I did grow up in a real strict religious household, because I never knew that I would need as many things from that I'm using day to day now.
Yeah.
But I
Move
always
over
say
a little
that
bit more on the half screen. You see the half screen, how your face is halfway? The other way.
this way.
Right there. That's perfect.
Okay. Okay. So I need to be in. I see it. Be in the middle of that brown and
Yeah,
black.
and the big screen, you good on the big screen. It's the
Okay.
other side, so that way
Okay.
people can see you a whole lot better.
Got it. So I always say that we're on borrowed time, but we're in borrowed bodies. So meaning that at some point, all of us are going to leave here. We don't know how we're going to leave here. We don't know when we're going to leave here, but we're going to leave here. And so I think that helped me remember that uh, even though he was my son, he was God's son first.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like God allowed me to have him. I was only borrowing him for his time that he was here, and he had to go back to however, whatever you think your afterlife is, whatever you believe in, it just starts back over. And so I just that's just how I got through the first stages of trying to cope, was to understand that God gave Jalen to me, but he was only borrowed for a certain period of time. So he may not be here in the physical realm, but I believe he's still here in the spiritual one.
Yeah.
And I still have access to him, even though I can't touch him, I can't hug him, but he's watching over me, and I know that he's where he needs to be. So that kind of helps me. Um, Sometimes I do feel selfish, and I'm just like, I want to be able to hug him. I still call his phone.
Yeah. Just to hear the voice
Just,
and the
just,
answer
he
machine.
don't even have a voicemail. It's just that, his phone has been on since forever, and I don't think I'm gonna get to the point where I would cut it off, because I feel like that's my only link for him. Because when he passed, I spoke to Jalen 2 hours before he passed. So that was on the phone as well as the text. So
Yeah.
I feel like that connection is still my little portal to my child.
So I want to go back a bit to December 16th,
Okay.
okay, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So When did you begin questioning whether you were being given the complete truth?
At first, initially, I just assumed that the police was doing their job. You know, that's what we all think, right? We know that there's some corrupted cops. We know that.
Yeah.
But you're hoping that the police is doing what they're supposed to be doing. So when it first happened, I got the call and I missed the call. And it was a 901 number. And I'm like, who's calling me this early in the morning? So I'm like, well, let me call the number back. And so the gentleman on the phone says, hey, is this Jalen McKenzie's family? I said, huh? Is this Jalen McKenzie's family? And I'm thinking to myself, well, what you want to know for? You know what I'm saying? Like, why my son ain't calling me? So then in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I hope he ain't got locked up or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking something like that. And so then he says, well, I said, this is his mother. And then he says, well, he was involved in a police involved shooting. I said, what? And so my husband is there at the time and he's listening and we're just like really spaced out because we try to figure out what's happening because at this time, that's anything. They're just saying he's in a police involved shooting and he's deceased. And so I get an attitude. I'm like, how you know it's my son? You know what I'm saying? Like, how you know it's him? And they couldn't tell me anything. They said it's under investigation. So then I hang up. My husband calls back and say, hey, we're on the way. And so then they say, well, it's nothing you can do right now. So you won't be able to identify his body until Friday. So this was a Saturday. And they were saying that we wouldn't be able to identify his body until that Friday. So I told my husband, I said, call my brother. Because me and my brother are really, really good friends. And Jalen is like both of our first child. Because I had him so young. So Jalen is also like my brother's first kid, you know.
Yeah.
Because we was all in the same household.
Yeah, y'all all grew up. He was young and y'all young too.
Yeah, we all grew up together. So I'm like, call my brother. He calls my brother. I'm telling him to call my brother before he call my mama. Like, call my brother. I call my brother for everything. And so he comes over, they start making calls. They have to call my sister that's out of state. They have to break the news to everybody. And it was crazy because I just assumed that the police were doing their job. We trusted them. So we didn't go to Memphis when we should have because he said we wouldn't be able to identify Jalen's body until Friday. So the family's coming over at this point. We're, trying to break the news to everybody. I create a social media page because I'm like, I can't talk to everybody. We just need to put it out on social media and go from there. Well, we kept looking on the news for the story. Mm-hmm. Couldn't find nothing. Finally, it comes up. And they didn't mention Jalen's name at the time because they didn't... at that point, nobody had said, yeah, that was Jalen, or they hadn't talked to the family yet. So they didn't say his name, but they did say the age and, and we knew that was him. We knew it was him.
Yeah.
And so when they aired the story, they never put a gun up there. And I told my family, I'm like, I don't understand this. I said, if they saying Jalen shot at the police, why did they not air a gun? Usually in all cases, they want to prove that whatever they did, their actions were right. So they try to put as much out there as they can. Well, in Jalen's case, they didn't. They gave the bare minimum. I mean, we couldn't get anything. The gun wasn't shown on TV. And that right then is when I said, something's not right.
Yeah, it seems like something's not right.
Yeah.
It definitely don't seem right.
Mm-mm. It don't. And that was the first red flag. And that's when I started digging. I said, we need to get us an attorney. So we went through a couple of attorneys and things like that, and then Memphis wouldn't release anything. They wouldn't. We ended up having to go to Memphis and we tried to get the police report. They said there is not one. They said there wasn't an incident report at the time. So then we tried to go. We got a partial autopsy.
So what was the reason they wouldn't grant you a full one?
We still don't have a full autopsy, and we're 4 years in. So only Memphis knows why they.
So is his body still preserved?
So he's in the ground.
Okay.
And at this point, I wanted to, when it first happened, we wanted to do a second autopsy, but we were told that for him to cross state lines from going from Tennessee to Georgia, he had to be embalmed. Which we found out that's not even true.
They was trying to get rid of the whatever happened, and that's what that sounds like to me. That sounds fishy.
So we don't even, so when I say incomplete autopsy, is the autopsy only has the wording of his injuries. It doesn't have the diagram. It doesn't have the photos. It doesn't have the gunshot residue test. The only thing we have is the actual wording where they're saying, hey, it's this many centimeters from here to there, and then the toxicology report.
So here's the thing that's kind of grinding my gears right now. And I'm going to just, just listening, my mind is going, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many layers to this right now. And I understand that if it was my child, I'd be turned up to the max until I get the full evidence that I need in order to, determine what really happened, because it sounds a little shaky once again. No fingerprints. Was there a gun with any fingerprints or anything like that?
So we don't have the gunshot residue test and we don't have the DNA. So
there's no GSR from him on the weapons.
So they have not given us a GSR. So that's not to say there is not one. Do I feel like there's one? Absolutely not. Because why?
Why would it take so long to reveal it if
you
it was?
already giving it to us
right.
to prove that he did whatever you saying that he did.
Right, absolutely.
So that makes absolutely no sense that you will hold this for 4 years. And now we're having to get ready to go to trial and we still don't have a GSR. Where is it?
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely doesn't make sense. There's, like I said, that just had my gears grinding. And I'm thinking like, that's something that sounds crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, y'all should have some exploratory evidence that could really put some light on it if that was the situation, but now it's still being withheld and it's 4 years later and we still don't have it.
Exactly. And the thing is, let me tell you what's crazy about that piece. So even when you watched about the body camera footage of one of the officers that actually had his camera on, when you walk up on them, you don't see a visible gun. When the second set of the officers walk up on the scene, then you see a gun, but it's not where all the statements are saying that they are, because everybody got different statements on where they're saying this gun was.
Yeah.
So that was an issue for me. Not only that, if I didn't know much about anything, they want to say that the gun was partially under Jalen. Well, if Jalen shot at you, let's just use a little common sense here. If Jalen shot at you, the gun wouldn't be partially under him. It would be to the side. It'd be somewhere over, somewhere near, because he wouldn't even have time to try to hide a gun under him.
Yeah.
At that
That's
point,
what doesn't make sense.
He wouldn't have had time. And not only that, we know that guns are hot when you shoot them. So why does the autopsy not say there's a burn on my baby's back? If the gun was partially under, there should be a burn.
So here's my question. because you said he got shot about 5-6 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were the gunshots from multiple officers?
So that we really can't even answer that. My opinion, I think that they're both officers shot. I think that one of the officers shot first because Jalen had a shot from the back of his leg, and then they said in the autopsy that it was gelling, like it was, you know how when you get a blood clot or something like that. And so the only way that would happen is if you're putting pressure in that area. So that would mean that Jalen was running at the time that you shot him from behind, and as his leg was going back and forth, it was causing that area the blood to gel. So it was stopping the bleeding at that. Well, shutting it down at that point. Then he has a shot from the side, and he has the shot that actually killed him was the shot to the chest, where the bullet actually exploded inside. It hit the left inside and the right, so it just tore up his whole side. So that was actually the shot that took him out. And they didn't even try to stop the bleeding or do anything. Jalen had blunt force trauma to the face. We don't know how that got there. And the reason why I say Jalen was shot 5 or 6 times is because on the autopsy, his arm was disfigured, and it says that it had mirrored what would have been a shot, but it wasn't penetrating or grazed. So that's why I say 5 or 6 times. That could be from him being dragged, or we don't know. We don't know what happened, but he did have a disfigured arm. They broke his knee was broken. Because one of the bullets that hit him actually hit his knee, which is probably why he slowed down. So the reason why I think they shot at Jalen was because Jalen was out running them. He pissed them off. In the body camera footage, you hear one of the officers say, "Get him, get him, get him, get him, boy." And then you hear the shots ring off. It all sounds from the same gun. You don't hear two different sets of gunshots. They're all in sequence with each other. So it's all from one thing.
Okay. Yeah, because it to me, I'm trying to envision and picture everything as, you tell me. And to me, it sounded like it was multiple shots from multiple police. So here's my next question.
Mm-hmm.
What helped you get through your darkest moments in this situation?
Y'all may think I'm a little corny, but I am a little cheesy. So I went and created this little. I got this bear made.
It's nice.
So you can hear my baby's voice. This is from one of his songs, and it says, "I love you, mama." And so when I get into those moments where I just need something, I go to my bear. And it's funny because my niece and nephew, everybody knows this is Jalen. And my niece, she'll come get him, and she said, "I'm finna go feed Jalen." My niece is 7 years old. So she comes get him, and she takes him outside, throw him up in the air, play with him. I take him everywhere I go. A lot of times he's in the passenger seat because Jalen was always in the passenger seat with me. Like we went together. So I feel like helps me, and also his journal. A lot of times I'll look back at his journal and I can just visualize our conversations that we're having, and those are things that get me through my darkest times, is being able to have those little pieces of him too.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think that's pretty fire that you keep his memory alive that way with the teddy bear. That's definitely dope. That's definitely dope.
Yeah.
All right, so.
And then when I travel, like if I go anywhere, I not only have his necklace on, but I always have his picture. So it's like anywhere I go, it doesn't matter what I'm going for. I make sure I take his pictures with me because I like to just take him. I feel like he's my protector. A lot of times, if what I've noticed is that if I get really upset, he does this thing with water. I remember one time I was talking to his biological father, and me and him just had it out, and the shower came on by itself.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he does a lot of little, if you're not into spiritual stuff, please forgive me, no disrespect, y'all. But we're pretty spiritual over here, and Jalen still connects, even though I can't see him. And he keeps me together by just doing certain things. I know if water is around and I'm stressed, he's telling me, Mom, I'm here. Everything's all right. Calm down. And the day that Jalen, the DA decided to do, not the DA, when they decided to release the body footage to the public, I had a dream, and I know it was a dream, but it felt so real.
Solo Dolo Cam for this dream. Go ahead.
He came to me, and he said, Mom, guess what? Like, he like to crack jokes and stuff. And see, I'm one of them real serious people. Like, I don't think everything's funny all the time. Like, he think life is funny and stuff. So he comes to me and he says, Mom, guess what? They shaved my hair right here. So I remember that he was so excited when he got like his little facial hair or any type of hair. He thought he was doing this big one. And so when he came to the dream, I'm asking him, like, Jalen, what happened to you that night? And like, I'm literally feeling this. Like, I know that I'm supposed to be sleeping. It seems so real. And he kept cracking jokes. And I'm like, Jalen, this is not funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we having a real conversation like we normally would. And so he's still cracking up about the little hair and stuff. And I'm trying to figure out, I want him to tell me something, like what happened that night, because we wasn't getting any answers. Then he hugs me, and it felt so real. And then he tells me, I hear the toilet flush. And he said, Mom, I got to go, but I'll be back. And then later on that day, they released the body camera footage. And then it would be times that he comes to me. I was in Walmart one time, and something said, go look at the body camera footage. And I had missed something. So it's like he has walked us through everything, because we couldn't get any help. Like, we couldn't get no help. I had to file pro se for us to even get a trial. Lawyers didn't want to take it, you know what I'm saying, because of the gun part. And then, we spent.
So how hard was that for you though to deal with that? Because when lawyers don't want to pick up your case, it's hard to get representation, and you feeling like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So what was that experience like for you?
Get to work. So what that told me was that just because I can't get a lawyer, let me start the process. Yeah. And I always tell families that with attorneys, yes, you got to remember they're for money, right? That's their job. Yeah. How they feed their families. You have to know your case, so, like, back and front, so you can sell your case. And it sounds crazy to have to say it like that, but it's just like anything else. If you want me to purchase these pair of shoes, you need to tell me why I need to purchase these pair of shoes.
That's right.
Why is the shoes, why they so much? Why are they comfortable? Why can I wear, can I wear them every day? It's just like that with a case, is that you have to know everything about that case. So get to work. Don't let not having an attorney deter you from moving forward. Because I was Jalen's investigator. I did everything on my own to even get the attorneys that we have now. And that's because I had to learn. I had to take that chance. I had to do my research. I had to Google stuff. If I didn't know it, I had to Google it. I wrote down as much as I started out with all the things that were fishy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wrote down everything and all the fishy things that just didn't make sense. That's why I started investigating now. to see what I can get or what's wrong with the picture and all that. And so we was able to file pro se. So we were lucky to do that. And because we had an attorney drop us 2 weeks before the statute was up.
Wow.
Memphis said they would not give him, he said Memphis would not give him the document. And it's crazy because you say that the case is closed. So if the case is closed, why you're not supposed to be able to hold information at this point? Well, unfortunately, they do it.
Yeah.
They do it. And it's against the law. They're not supposed to be able to do that, but they're able to get away with it.
Yeah, they was withholding it so that the case could drag out and be over.
Exactly.
Through the statute of limitations.
That's the blueprint. So knowing the statute of limitations, like Memphis is only 1 year. A lot of states is 2 and 3. There's nothing you can really do in a year.
So we are on the 1 hour mark. We want an hour and 5 minutes over. So we're going to take a break, and that gives you time to get a sip of water, go to the bathroom, or anything you need to do. And when we come back, we're going to finish talking about that, but we're also going to talk about say their name monuments. And you joining BLM grassroots. And so we're going to get into that in a second. So, folks, I want y'all to sit back, enjoy the ride. I'm going to play a music video on the commercial real quick, and then we be right back. So hold it down.
Turned on but not checked out, then vibes is the answer. That's right, the smooth flow and energy drink that gives you all the notes. The official sponsor of the podcast with Tigmatic, Vibes. Turned on but not checked out, then vibes is the answer. That's right, the smooth flow and energy drink that gives you all the know-how to party. That's right, 3 different flavors that gives you focus, boost, and a chill mode. The official sponsor of the podcast with Tigmatic, Vibes.
I know exactly what they want. I know exactly what they want. Just be patient. My name is my name, power and glory, I never change. Stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name, you go to war with me. We move the same, you think that it's for me. Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name did more for me, y'all keep the fame. I want the glory, been that nigga, bitches never ignored me. Rich in spirit, little bitch can't afford me. Day one static, fix it with a 4G. Red beam on it, you think I'm recording. Kicking front doors, you try to backdoor me. We are not a gang, bitch, we an army. Book a Dan, you know I don't tell stories. Keep it 100 in enlightenment. You niggas fake baby K name Adonis. Mini Drake clip curl, but somehow I can shoot it straight. Insta clip, I can shoot 4 minutes straight. Turn this to the Super Bowl if I need to. I can hit your chief up with an eagle. Set you up on the score, but they lied to you. Why you letting them niggas mislead you? My name is my name, power and glory. I never change. Stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name. You go to war with me. We move the same. You think that it's for me? Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name did more for me. My name is my name, power and glory. I never change. Stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name. You go to war with me. We move the same. You think that it's for me? Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name did more for me. You won't see it coming. I move like a crook, a thief in the night. So watch what you put. My aim precise. These bullets 12 inches long. A block away, I could take off the foot. Don't ask me no questions if you know my stance. Bitch, I'm the man, so thanks in advance. They mean a rifle on top of a tripod. If they ever tell you I was taking taking a stand. Think I run up on me, but I'm way too advanced. Spinning with choppers, turn you into a fan. Can show you the steps, but won't hold your hands. They thought they could stop me, it ain't go as planned. How I get this far? Cause I took a chance. Really got ranked, keeping it a band. This ain't what you think, better think again. This ain't what you think, you better think again. My name is my name, power and glory. I never change, stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name, you go to war with me. We move the same, you think that it's for me. Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name did more for me. My name is my name, power and glory. I never change, stand on loyalty, remain the same. Say what you mean, speak on my name, you go to war with me. We move the same, you think that it's for me. Running the game, kicking the door with me. All through the pain, the snow, the rain, the ups and downs. My name did more for me. Went to war with the real, the fake, the snake, the mobsters. Blame it on y'all created this monster. Went to war with the real, the fake, the snake, the mobsters. Blame it on y'all created this monster. Went to war with the real, the fake, the snake, the mobsters. Blame it on y'all created this monster. Went to war with the real, the fake, the snake, the mobsters. Blame it on y'all created this monster.
Hurting. I'm supposed to be driving in Houston this morning, but last night I put out the freestyle to spin it, and I was telling my little brother I wanted to shoot a little video for it. So I say I might as well just stick around, go get $50,000 out the bank, and then shoot the video. I'm counting the money and I'm rapping the verse. And my brother like, what $50,000 got to do with the song? I'm like, the money got everything to do with it. Because in the song, I'm explaining that I get what India is saying, but I also come from uptown New Orleans. That's the home of the stunners. Plus, even when it come to me, I know when I sold my houses and I closed my business, I moved into a van. I know niggas think, oh no, she lying. She talking about she stole all that shit. No, she fell off. So I won't go get the money out the bank to let a nigga know, like, yeah, I live in a van, but I got money. Nigga, I ain't hurting. Then when I thought about it, I'm like, damn, I'm talking about me too. It's like some type of symbolism to let a nigga know, no, I'm good, I'm straight. You probably think because where I come from, I ain't got it, but I got it. You probably think because what it look like, I ain't got it, but I got it. I realized that I suffer from the same shit. We flex to deflect. So I'm gonna just rap this song without going to get no money out the bank, without trying to prove nothing to nobody watching, and hopefully y'all fuck with the song straight from my heart, all right?
Where are my salmon ass niggas at? In prison, got caught cause the feds was listening. Now they in front of the judge trying to beg forgiveness while somebody losing their house cause they bread went missing. Just a flex for the gram. Fraudulent checks, been a vet with the scams. God forbid they get popped. Nothing left for the fam. Go funmies and fish fries. But I've been broke before, so fuck it, let's switch sides. Shit, it's hard to get jobs. And 7 1/4 is really hard to get by. Could barely pay the water and inflation rates high. Niggas battling depression, searching for acceptance, hiding by designer dressing. Secret of selling to the Negro is rooted in oppression, make them feel less than equal. Then they become obsessive, possessions start getting repoed. Then they get desperate, stressing to find a cheat code. But no judgment, this ain't a think piece. Cause the same ones bitching about Carisha don't support music, they think deep. That's why the industry sign rappers, they think sleep. I turn down them contracts like it ain't me. I understand India, but I too wanna spin it like I printed up. Foreign cars tinted up, old school hemmied up. Puffing on indica, no telling what's up in the cup. Probably should call that lady and go vent the hub about why we buy whips and buy chains to hide pain. Kids hopscotch on blood stains in my terrain. So these Gucci frames kinda make me feel sane. Escapism, hey listen, hard to explain.
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. These are the keys to selling the Negro customer.
Yo, we back, yo. Oh, I'm super loud. My bad. I was sitting here vibing the 3D Nati. That's the real spin that for those that don't know. It's like, no, let me stop.
No, that was nice.
That's how we talk spin that with a grassroots vision. You know what I mean? So we're back. I'm sitting here with Ashley McKenzie, mother of Jalen McKenzie, and she is here to tell her son's story and also talk about a few things. You're also an entrepreneur as well, right?
I am, but I want to leave this before we jump to that. So they also put both officers in the same patrol car after Jalen's killing, after the shooting. And they watched the movie on their cell phone for 2 hours. And then the officer came and said, hey, you guys not supposed to be in the same car. You're supposed to be separated. So that's another thing. Also, we didn't identify Jalen until he actually got back to Georgia and went to the funeral home as we was making preparations for Jalen's funeral. So those are just some other things that that just really just was very unfair in Jalen's story, and it just added to the whole madness of why we fight so hard. And so yes,
there was no care in the situation.
None at all. None. Nope. I think one of the things is that they
I'm
thought
sorry you had to go through that.
Thank you. I think one of the things they thought that because Jalen was an out of towner, that they could just cover up his murder, and that his folks was just going to allow it because he was black, and that we may not have had the resources to make those trips back and forth to try to dig for answers. But I always say they chose the wrong child that night.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because his mama fighting, y'all.
His mama is
and she
fighting.
want justice. We want justice.
That's right. Yep.
That's right.
Yep. So that's how we got to where we are. One night I knew we wanted to do something, wasn't sure what we was going to do. I wanted to make sure that we did leave a legacy for Jalen.
That's right.
I wasn't sure what that was going to look like, but I always say that even though he's gone, he's not gone in vain. So if we can help one family, two families, then we're doing more than what we were doing before all of this happened. I too, like many others, it wasn't important until it hit my doorstep. So I just encourage a lot of people just to get out and get involved in your community, support the impacted families, because it is really hard to tackle these issues with the system without the support of your community. Even though it has not happened to you, you could be next, unfortunately.
Yeah. So true.
And I always say, we do all these Christmas tree giveaway. The Christmas gift giveaways. But if we don't do something as a whole, we won't have any kids to give Christmas gifts to.
That's right.
So we have to do better as a community. We have to expect more from ourselves. And we have to figure out what's going on and get a little bit more active. We're way too busy. And with us being busy, we're missing out on so many things. We look at back in the day when people were fighting, I call it just the new movement. Things are totally different from what we saw back then and in the movies and things like that, because people had morals, they cared about each other. Everybody's too busy. So we have to make ourselves a little bit more available to be able to fix some of these problems that we're having in our communities, regardless of whether or not it's suicide, overdose, because right now the Black community is at war. Like, we are losing way too many people. So we got to do our job. But that brings me to Say They Name Monument. That is my baby. It started out just the focus of police violence. And then as I became more and more active in the community, trying to figure out what was going on, how could we bridge the gap, what was needed from the family, And mostly what we heard is that they don't want their loved one forgot. And
That's
so
right.
that's one of the things that we do with Say Their Name monuments is we remember loved ones regardless of how they pass. It doesn't matter. Your loved one could pass from cancer. That's still your loved one, right? So
That's
it
right.
doesn't matter. So we remember everyone, and because that was so important that nobody gets forgotten, we have changed from just being police violence primarily to any type of systematic injustice, whether or not it's gun violence,
Yeah.
suicide, overdose, accidental. We have a lot of kids that are dying who are artistic just because they're getting out of the house. How do we help save those lives? So that's one of the things that we're trying to do is not only remember, but educate and advocate. So those are our three main goals. And it all came from Jalen. One of those stay up all night long, can't get no sleep, brain overacting, and it's like how do we fix what we're doing, what's going on out here? So that's how we came up with Say Their Names monuments, and that's what we're doing. We're doing a whole lot. We have over 1,000 families that we work with.
That's amazing.
So
That's amazing because
yeah.
that's real coalition building right there. And that's very important in order for any movement to be strong is to have good coalition building. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and I am a part of, co-founder of Black Lives Matter Grassroots Memphis. A lot of people like, well, why did you're in Atlanta. So why Memphis? Well, because that's where my baby was taken, was Memphis. And so Memphis, even though it is a nightmare and it's a tragic area, Memphis needs a lot of help.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
We
Memphis
saw
and
what happened
Mississippi, they right over top of each other.
Yes,
it's kind of crazy.
We saw what happened with Tyree Nichols, and I speak on that all the time about how we, the world, saw. You can't say that there was not enough footage. Like in some cases they say, well, we don't know because it's not enough evidence, it's not enough footage, it's not enough this and that. But we saw what happened in Tyree Nichols. And we saw the outcome of Tyree Nichols.
Yeah.
Where these officers are pretty much they're walking free. And that's because only 1% of officers are actually being held accountable for
held accountable, yeah.
And one of the problems that we see is that I want families to understand you're gonna get the check, right? One of the tactics and one of the blueprints is to drag it out, is to make you tired. Where you say, hey, just go on and give me my little check and let me go on about my business. But it's hurting us because if we're not being able to hold them liable because you're signing gag orders or NDAs,
it'll keep going on. The cycle will perpetuate itself.
It keeps
Absolutely
going. It keeps going. So yes,
accountability is a must, and immunity has to go. It has to go out the door completely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one thing about qualified immunity now that we're talking about is even though qualified immunity it affects the whole, there are things you can do in your own state. And I want people to understand that you can stop qualified immunity in your own state. If we can get a couple of states to say, hey, we don't want qualified, they can't do qualified immunity here, then another state may do it, and another state may do it. One of the issues that we're finding why qualified immunity is being held is because there's no real tracking for police violence incidents. Some states don't have to report. If you don't have the black and white, how are we going to lawmakers to say, hey, this needs to end and this is how it's affecting our community? Because there's no paper trail. Everything is black and white, whether or not we like it or not. So we have to start tracking this stuff so that we can have actual numbers that we can say, hey, this is what's happening in our community. This is how many police officers that we're having problems with. If you run into an officer that is a problem, file a complaint. File a complaint. We have to have the black and white so that we can fight it. It's harder to fight anything without the statistics, without the numbers, without the paper trail. So we can get everybody to go in and help us create what this paper trail can look like, then we could possibly end qualified immunity a lot faster than what we're looking at.
Absolutely.
But it's going to take all of us, and it's going to, like I say, it's going to be work. It's not something that will happen overnight, because
go
this
to your local councilman.
Yep.
Go to, write letters to the mayor of your city.
Yep. Your governor, your mayor.
Your governor.
Yep.
Speak out and reach out to as many people as you can.
As many people as you can.
That's right.
Many people as you can, because qualified immunity is hurting us. They're making it to where they don't have to hold these police accountable.
And they got to be held accountable.
They are getting away with easily saying that their life was in danger. They feared for their life. That's all they have to say. I feared for my life. They got qualified immunity.
The reality is, if you fear for your life, then you're on the wrong job, because this is a job where things happen all the time, and it's a dangerous job. So even when it's not dangerous, you use that excuse, and then you get to walk away free, because you basically got a license to kill at any given moment, especially when it comes to us.
Exactly. Another thing that we could do as a community is that we need to make it law to where police officers, and it's in some states, it's not in every state, where they have to have an insurance. And it's just like a car. If you get in a car accident, right? You get too many points.
Infractions, yeah.
Right? It goes up, they drop
it. It goes up and up. That's right.
And so we can do the same thing, because there's a lot of occupations that have to have insurance. There are lawyers, doctors, all of them. So if we can do that, then they'll be dropped, and that will stop some of these bad officers, because now you're not going to have a job because we can't insure you.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What happens when a family reaches out to your organization after losing someone?
So we kind of figure out what we can and what we can't do. Because we're not lawyers, or we don't have certificates or degree, in those fields, all we can do is really advocate and then put you where you need to be at. So depending on what resource that person needs, some people just want their loved one remembered. Some people need a lawyer. So if you need a lawyer, then we'll help you find an attorney. Some people don't understand the jargons, or they don't know where to start. So we also have these town halls that we do monthly. We have one of the topics was understanding evidence. So it's going over what the evidence look like, what evidence you can get, what evidence. It could be an autopsy, it could be body camera footage, it could be car dash camera, it can be surveillance from a building or a ring camera. It could be a witness. How do you compile those things? How do you create that journal from the first 24 hours, and what does that look like? We've also talked about how to talk to media, what to say to media, what not to say to media. What people don't understand what media is, and I've learned that with my nephew's case, and what we did was we declined all interviews and we did one interview. And the reason why that was so important in my nephew's case was because we were able to control the narrative. That is one thing that you have to learn to do, even if you're distraught, is to control.
And you doing that right now too.
Your loved one's narrative.
That's
when
right.
you don't talk to a lot of different media, they can't spin all these different stories.
They can't spin a narrative or dehumanize
They can't do any
your loved
of that.
one.
If you talk to one whoever you choose, whatever journalist or reporter that you choose that you actually like, and you have faith in that they're going to actually get that story out the way you want it to, then the other media has to piggyback off of what they were told, and then now they're saying the same story. So now you have your hand in the narrative. You have controlled the narrative. So we tested it. It worked. I do a lot of testing on myself before we even
That's
put it
good.
out there to say what will work and what don't work. So we did it with my nephew incident. It was a gun violence incident, and it just recently happened. And we was able to control his narrative before anybody else can come in and try to control it by
You
doing
know,
it exclusive.
you know, the thing that I like most about what you just broke down is that you care about humanizing the loved ones of others, you know, because that's the first thing they do, right?
That's it.
They
Yep.
try to dehumanize us and deteriorate
Yep.
our character as
That's
if
it.
like, oh well, they had this charge or this or that,
Yep.
or
Yep.
they were this and they were that, or they come from deprived homes, like Sharon said, you know, and
Yeah.
shout out to Sharon Jenkins as well, who was a part of this same club that we were talking about earlier that nobody wants to be a part of.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know, and they did that with Erskine as well, you know, and I don't think that a person that tries to spin the narrative will ever try to paint the person in a great way anyway. So it's great that you take control of the narrative and do it yourself. And that's what we are doing here right now. You know, even though it's been years, right? We're here having the conversation, not only seeking justice for Jalen, but also telling his story, explaining who he was, what his spirit was like, what his posture was like as a person on earth, you know, and that's very important.
It is.
It's very important.
It is. It is.
You know,
It's
so
important for everyone. It's important for the family. It's important for the person who's no longer here.
absolutely.
It is not for the public to determine whether or not your loved one deserves justice or not.
Yeah.
That's not for them to determine. That's not up for discussion. So when you
I agree.
create that narrative the way you want it to be, when you spend it how you want it to be, then you're putting back that person that you knew. The
That's
person
right.
that you want the world to know. And that's what needs to be left. Not about the incident and what took place. This person was human just like the next person. This person bled just like the next person. This person could have children. This person could have siblings. This person has parents. So at the end of the day, a human is a human, regardless
That's
of
right.
what the incident looks like. And that's not what we're here for. We want everybody to receive justice, but we also want your loved one to be remembered in a way that you want them to be remembered. Because
That's
that's how
right.
the world needs to remember them.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. You know, you telling it like it is on that one. So here's my next question.
Mm-hmm.
What are some mistakes families can accidentally make that could hurt their ability to seek answers or accountability?
I would say one of the things I would probably say, one of the first things is learning how to control yourself. And I'm speaking this to the Black community, people of color. And it could be for anybody, but we see this trend a lot where they think that they already have us. They think we're animals, or we don't know how to conduct ourselves in public, or they expect the worst out of us, so that when it is time to look at what happened to your loved one, the way you act out is going to justify their reasons of why they say what they say about your loved one. So
Right.
one of the things that I learned, and we've been pretty cool in trying to making sure that we kept ourselves lined and really prayed up with Jalen's case, because it did take us through there a couple of times. But if people would pay attention to how Tyree Nichols, I talked to her and Miss Rovon, and she handled herself with so much class, even through pain. And it's one of the hardest things to do when you lose someone is to make sure that you're conducting yourself in a certain manner. But you don't want to give them something they can run with. So I would say one of the first things is learning how to have that chill. Take a break when you need to. If you need to step away and let someone else handle it because it's too emotional for you, do that. But stay as calm as you can through the process because they're watching. They're watching and they're note taking. And all the things that you do can either hurt you or it can help you. So I would say that's really important. Also, is a lot of times when it just happens, people don't do enough of the journaling. From day one, when the incident happened, write everything down. Write it down. If you don't want to write it down, record it. Talk it into your recorder on your phone. And then save it somewhere privately and then let someone who you trust have it just in case something happens. But you need to document everything because what I've found out in doing interrogations and my depositions and things like that is that everything you said, it's all going to come back because you got to remember that other side is not for you. So what they want to do is they want to discredit you. So if you have your journal, you wrote the times, the people, locations, was it a text? Was it a phone call? Who you spoke to? Jot all that stuff down, record all that stuff. Also, create a journal for yourself that talks about your emotions. Because as you're going through this process, some of those stories that you may have left 2 years back may get you to the next phase.
Yeah.
Because it shows how far you've come. And it can also help other families that are new coming in that have no idea what they're doing. They don't know where to start. Those things are really important with the grief process, the healing process, is what they would say, and helping others be able to move forward. I will also say, because there's no blueprint to this. Nobody gave us a blueprint of what it looks like. I would say hold off on talking to media right away. And if you do, like I said before, do it exclusive and do that one exclusive only. The best stories come from independent reporters.
That's right.
Because why?
Here we are, independent reporting, y'all. Black-owned media.
Yep. Independent people do research.
That's
a lot
right.
of things too that people don't realize is if you find you an independent reporter that reports the truth, they will get you a autopsy faster than you go get your own autopsy. So sometimes you have to use the media to help you too. So just like they pimping you for a story, you pimp them for the documents that you can't get.
That's right. Come on now.
So those are some tips that I would say, like a lot of people have a hard time getting documents and stuff. Use the media for that because they can get it.
Yeah.
And if they can't get it, let me tell you what they're going to do. They're going to say, hold up, wait a minute.
They're going to push that story out.
And they not giving it to us. And you know what? It makes the other side look bad. Now the media is going to believe more of what you're saying because they tried to get it and they can't get it. So it's like, what you hiding from us? You can't hide from the media, so you use the media for what they're for. So I think a lot of times our brains are so cloudy, and this is where you have to go to advocates and activists to be able to help you, coach you through those things because they have the experience. They know at this phase, this is what this looks like. At this phase, this is what this looks like. And when you're in that traumatic stage, you can't think clearly. So you're going to just move, but you have to move very strategic, especially in police brutality cases. Very, very strategic. So get you someone you can trust. If you can't talk, if you can't be the forefront, you can't talk, get you a loved one that can, or a family member that can. Somebody that's strong enough that can help you until you get on your feet and can go through that process. So those would be the first things I would probably say is definitely get an activist and an advocate to help you get through those phases. 2, be careful with the media. Find you one media person that you trust. Like I say, independent is best. Journal, write down everything, record everything, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask questions. Ask lots of questions. write down your questions that you have, and then when you get the answers, then put the answers to them. Look at everything with a fine-tooth comb. Don't feel rushed because you got time. Trust me, you got time.
So here's my next question. Now, this is about say their name monuments. What programs are you developing for young people right now? And what communities are you trying to reach with your organization?
So we have quite a few. We've started so many programs. One of the things that we finding with Say Their Name Monuments, and this will be anybody that's really active in their community, is that the needs change, right? The needs change. Your demographics may change when you develop programs based on what's going on. So one of our newest programs that we have is the SAVE Project, and that program is for youth. It's about us getting illegal guns off the street. So how we started that program was because my nephew, he just recently passed. He bought an illegal gun off the street, $200. Somebody sold him a gun. He was playing with it. He shot his sister in the neck, and he ended up killing himself because he thought she had passed. So one of the things we know is that, and then 2 weeks before then, he buried his cousin due to gun violence because somebody shot in the house. DeMarcus Shirley, they shot in the house at a sleepover, and my nephew is 7 Shirley, and so we're trying to get these guns off the street. So we're doing Love on the Green on September 26th, which is Homicide Day. And we'll be in Clayton County. And one of the things that we're doing is we're buying a gun. We're trying to buy guns back. So that's one of the features of that day. We'll also be giving away free memorial necklaces. So if you come to our table, we'll make you a memorial necklace for your loved one.
That's awesome.
So with Project Save, it's not only just dealing with getting the guns off the street, but we're dealing with suicide prevention and dealing with the anxiety that the children are having at this point. And these kids are stressed out. You know, they got a lot of stuff that they're dealing with. And one of the reasons is because life is moving so fast. So if we think about our time back in the day when we was doing internet, we had AOL, we had dial-up, right?
AOL and Yahoo.
Yeah.
That's
These babies that, they're able to get so much more than what we got in that short period of time. And that's stressful because they're smarter than they're so much smarter than they know, and the technology is moving way too fast. So it's like trying to put these babies with the technology, and everything is going wild. So we have to work on how to deal with anger management, how to deal with stress, and how to help kids deal with their emotions. A lot of times we tell boys don't cry, man up, right?
That's a fact.
And then what we see happening is that then we let them go, and now they don't know how to deal with crisis intervention or just any type of situation outside. And so what they're doing, they're picking up guns, they're shooting instead of being able to talk it out.
That's
or even tell an adult what's going on so an adult can help them, coach them through what that process looks like.
Yeah, and it's very imperative to have emotional intelligence out here in the streets. So you don't go, even if you are licensed to carry, and even if you're not, you still need emotional intelligence so you don't just lose your cool and just shoot anybody or anything like that.
You really have to.
That's
and
important.
we gotta get these adults to understand too. I remember if you took a drug dealer back in the day, long time ago, and I'm gonna use that example because even though they put things on the street that they shouldn't have, there were certain areas and certain demographics that they just didn't touch. They didn't touch the women, and they didn't touch the kids.
That's right.
So we have to change the way we're processing things, that certain things are just off limits. It takes that community to get in, and we all have to get in with these kids. We all have to hug on these kids and love on these kids talk to these kids. Let them know that what they're going through is nothing new. We all been through it. You know what I'm saying? And so
That's
we
right.
had more men back in the day talking to kids. We don't have that many because what is the system doing? They locking them up.
Locking us
They
up.
killing them or they locking them
Or,
up.
a lot of us are so, in the vices that we don't even
That
speak
too.
to the youth anymore.
Because they're scared. You know, these youth, what they call them YNs, they a bit rough. You know, they don't have no filters or they don't care. And that's because
Yeah.
the problem is we did that. We did that to them.
Yeah.
We became too busy. And a lot of them are having to live life that they don't even have to live or be in streets that they don't even have to be in. But because we working and trying to put food on the table, every generation wants more for their kids.
That's right.
Every generation does. So our parents wanted more for us. We wanted more for them. And somewhere there's a big disconnect on what love and support looks like. It's not materialistic.
That's right. Love can be bought, and that's a big issue,
That's the issue, yeah.
And learning how to, have our emotions in check is definitely important as well. I couldn't agree with you more on all of these issues, and I commend you and your chapter for going out there, putting in the work as well, because it's very important. We doing some things down here in North Carolina as well, and I'm glad that we got to connect. Shout out to Jennifer Kane.
Yes.
Shout out to Jen, because she had a lot to say about you and a lot of positive things to say about you.
That's my partner, and it's crazy because she was the first activist that even would look at Jalen's case.
Yeah.
And when I say that I haven't had to go through some of the heartache that some families have been through, is because Jen had put me on so much game at the beginning.
Yeah.
That I was able to bypass a whole bunch of foolishness. Because it's a lot that goes on behind the scenes when you fighting for a loved one, and it's a lot from an activist side, an advocate side. So I can see that side now since I work with people, and I also see the family side since I'm an impacted family as well.
That's right.
So yeah, Jennifer, she did a big one, and I was able to meet a lot of families. She put me on. Yeah, I went in straight head right on there, and she took me there, and she's been nothing but a blessing.
Shout out to
she's
Jen.
my co-partner at the with Black Lives Matter Grassroots Memphis. Yeah.
Shout out to Jen. Hey, listen, I seen in the pictures that you sent me, and they're posted on Facebook, folks. She sent me a lot of pictures, and it's posted on the post, and I love it because it's like the pictures are telling a story. And I seen the pictures of your son, and I seen the one with him with the 20-year-old turning 20 with the balloons, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that day and what it was like. And then after that, tell us about a little bit about your interaction with Drew, because I saw Drew was in the pictures as well, along with Drew. And we just lost him recently as well.
We did.
Yeah, so tell us a bit about that day.
Okay, so
for Jalen, and then tell us about Drew.
That was Jalen's last birthday. Jalen is his birthday's in February. Jalen loved Rick and Morty. So I've always been a big DIY party person. He's always had big parties and things like that. And so he loved Rick and Morty. So we did a Rick and Morty birthday party at the house. He didn't want to do nothing big. So what's funny about what I really remember about that day is he did have some friends come over, and they did go to his little studio in the garage. But he also had a girl over. So Jalen was one that didn't really bring girls around, and all of my boys are like that. So my nephews are like that. They ain't bringing no girl around me because I'm that one that say anything, right? Like, I remember this one time Jalen took a picture with a girl, and it was some feet in there, and her feet were really ugly. And I said, "Who ugly boy feet these?" And he was It looks like it's not her feet. It was a boy feet. I'm one that you had to be really careful with bringing girls around because I'm going to say what I got to say. So I'm also one that they don't really like to go to the school because if I hear something and I'm going to the school and it's embarrassing. So I'm one of those people. But he said, "Ma, can I have a girl over?" I said, "Yeah, that's fine." So I see the car pull into I'm in my bedroom. I see the car pull in. Okay. I look out. He gets out the car. So they go to my basement. And it's the day before his party. They go to my basement. So I go downstairs and I'm like, well, she's sitting on his lap too. So I go and say, that just struck me with one. So not only did you come in my home and not speak, I got a big problem with that. But y'all downstairs in the basement and you sitting on his lap. I'm like, y'all can come on upstairs to
He
the
was
living
trying to
room.
get the yams.
You can come on up to the living room. Y'all ain't got to sit down here in this basement. It's cold down here, even though it was a heater down there. So it was all decked out. It was like a man's cave. So people do sit down there, but you ain't got to sit down there. You can sit in the living room. Ain't nobody going to bother y'all.
He wasn't trying to hear that.
No, he wasn't. So they did come upstairs. They did
He was trying to
eventually
get
come
some
upstairs.
quality time.
And then I found out the girls spent the night. Well,
he already got the quality time.
He didn't say she was spending the night. He just said he was having company over. I didn't mind. So I wake up. I'm getting ready to cook breakfast and stuff and to run to the store. They still in the bed. So I'm like, hold up. So I tell my husband, I'm like, the girl's still here. He telling me to leave him alone, of course. Like, why you bothering?
It's his birthday. He 20.
And so I'm like, hold on. It's 9:00. Ain't nobody finna be still sleeping. I'm real old school about
you sound like my mama.
Y'all gotta get up. You can't sleep around. You ain't paying no bills. Y'all gotta get up.
You gotta get up.
So I got them up. They came downstairs to the kitchen. I said, well, I'm finna run to the grocery store. Y'all gonna help me get the groceries out of the car. So I'll be back. So I asked her, I said, do you know how to cook? And so she was like, yeah, okay. She know how to cook. I'm like, okay, good. So I won't be doing all this by myself. Because I was feeling some type of way. You already you ain't supposed to be here overnight. Then
you gonna put in some work if you gonna be in my house.
Yeah, you gonna put some work in it.
I hear that.
So she did help me. But it was just so funny because I remember, and he never brought her back around either. She never came back. But I asked her, I said, well, where you work at? She said, well, I was working at the Target warehouse, but I got fired. I said, you got fired? She said, yeah. I said, what you get fired for? She said, because she was smoking weed at work. I said, Jalen, what the hell you gonna do with her? Yeah, she can't even keep a job. So that's one of the things that I remember is him bringing that girl over for his birthday.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, so that I always remember. That's so funny.
All right, we got 6 minutes. Tell me something about Drew that you remember about Drew, and then I got 2 more questions for you.
I love Drew. So Drew I met Drew through Jennifer, of course, and he just been our rider since day one. When we started advocating for Jalen, I never had to tell him what was going on. He always just pop up, was always there anytime I needed him for anything. But one of the things I will remember about Drew is I love projects. I love creating things. And so this one time I don't know if I think I shared this picture because it's one of my favorite pictures, but we were making these makeshift body bags.
Yeah.
And
I shared that picture.
Okay, good. Yeah, so that's one of my funnest memories. So he in the back making signs. One time he's making these signs, and I called him arts and craft projects because he was like, he got to run a Dollar Tree, he got to go get this and that. So I'm thinking he finna come back and the sign finna be off the chain, gonna be the bomb because he already had his mind made up on what he was about to buy and what all he had to get. So then we hear him back there listening to some Florida, New Orleans music. So he jamming while he making a sign. When Drew brought them signs up, it looked like a 2-year-old had made them Justice for Jalen signs. And it was just so funny. So we had him making body bags. He had to paint these signs, huge fabric signs, paint Justice for Jalen on signs, but he was always there. He never said what he couldn't do. He never told me no. That's one thing I just loved about him. And we was able to become really close with all the rallies because he just always showed up. I didn't even have to call him. Like he was just
that's awesome.
always supportive. And so that was a major loss for us. And it hurt so
Yes,
bad
it
because it's
was.
like, how am I gonna get through these things without him being there? Him cheering us on, him pushing us on, and him taking control. Because when I didn't know what to do, he knew exactly what to do.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite moments of Drew, I only had a few, but when I first met him, I talk about this every time, but this was like the craziest thing, right? When I first met him, we shook hands. I hopped in the car and it was me, him, Portia, and Carrielle. We in the car. We out LA. This is out LA. And we in the car. And Portia saying to me, yeah, Tig, because, you know, she's my mentor. So she telling me, yeah, Tig, you need to pull your phone out now. We about to pass the big oil rig where everybody get their oil from. So I'm like, oh, snap. And then I see the palm trees, and that's the first time I see palm trees because I wasn't even paying attention in LAX. I was paying attention on the ride. So it was like, I'm like, oh, there go palm trees right there. I feel like I'm Malibu's most wanted. He gonna say, effing tourists. And we all just start busting out laughing because he was just cracking jokes the whole time.
That's what he does, man. It's never a dull moment with him, ever.
Him and Portia just start saying, "Don't let me out," because I'm the new guy, and I start saying it too. "Don't let me out," and we was all cracking up. So that's one of my favorite moments with Drew. And he was like that. Like he would, you know, if it's tension in the room, he gonna make you smile. He gonna make you laugh. He gonna get rid of all that, just like that.
All of it.
And that's exactly how he was.
He was a protector.
Yeah,
he was a comedian. He was everything all in once. I know
and
there
he
was
was
so
serious too about the boots on the groundwork.
Rallies where he would be like, "Look, this ain't gonna happen over here. We all gonna be safe," you know. So he was the protector, and then he always gave you that life that you needed. He always made every moment so comfortable where you wasn't stressed. I don't think any of the events that I had, I actually cried because I didn't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? It was crying because, I wanted justice for my child, but the support, the love.
It was hard to go through.
Yep. So that was totally a break for this whole movement.
So let me ask you this. I got two more questions. Here's one of them. What does accountability look like to you for the officer, and what do you want to see done?
For us in Jalen's case, we want charges brought. That's it. That question I have had that question in my head so many times. I played it back and forth because when Jalen was killed, Jalen was 20, but the officer that shot Jalen was only 26. He was a baby himself. As a mother, you know, I'm Jalen's mom, but then I also look at that I'm a mother, and what would I want to happen, or what would I want to see for Jalen? But then also, I pray about their situation as well. His mother, his father, his siblings. Because a lot of times with police, is they get out here and they take these jobs that they're not ready for.
That's a fact.
And not knowing or having the right experience or enough experience, I should say, it brings a danger to our community. At 26 years old, you mentally you're not ready. You're not.
I couldn't
You're
agree
not
more.
ready for what comes with that once you do that. What does the aftermath look like for him as a person? I'm sure you have nightmares because you did something wrong. And then you're listening to everyone around you that blue code is telling you to cover it up.
Yeah.
So
That's exactly why qualified immunity has to go.
it has to go. So I pray for him. I pray for them. But at the end of the day, if it was a civilian versus a civilian, you would have locked him up. You would have made him pay for what he did. And I do want charges brought on him. If we can't get charges, he definitely needs to be fired, and he does not need to work at any other position that allow him to have that type of authority, because he was not mentally or emotionally prepared for that job.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
He gotta go.
He gotta go.
So we're gonna say that with some authority. He gotta go.
He has to go. He has to go. I would
Say it again.
The National Guard has to go. I honestly want to see that the lieutenant who put both of them in the same car, they only wrote him up and put them in training again. Now, you wasn't supposed to put both of them in the car. So I have juggled with this so many times, and I've tried so many ways to say, was this an accident or was this just a night of hunting? And everything goes back to it was just a night of hunting.
Well, yeah, I think that you're very courageous and very forgiving. And that only shows the love of God. And praying for them is something that is definitely required and needs to be done. But that means for you in your journey, not only did you seek God, but you seek understanding as well.
Yep.
I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Also, I want to say my condolences once again. And the last question that I had for you was this.
Mm-hmm.
If it's one thing that this life has taught you, what is that and why?
I would say to cherish every moment. I didn't think that I would be burying my son. I thought that he would bury me, like in most cases you would think that a child bury their parents. But I would say cherish every moment. Take those pictures, record, because at the end of the day, when that person is gone, regardless of how they leave this earth, you need something that's going to give you those memories and that's going to give you that comfort for you to be able to move forward.
Yeah. Ashley,
yes.
I want to say you're very resilient. You're very strong.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you taking the time to share Jalen's life with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, listen, it was my pleasure. You were very informational, and I thank you for that as well. So folks, if y'all watch this episode, if you didn't get it now while it's on, as always, people don't be watching in the beginning, but once it go off, it's like people start watching like crazy. So that's how it usually goes, and I'm used to that now as well. But I do know this: justice for Jalen needs to happen, and grassroots. You already know, boots on the ground. That's what we're about. We fighting until we get accountability, and our main goal is to get rid of that qualified immunity
all day long.
We have a regime, because I'm not going to call it an administration. We have a regime that is hell bent on cops doing whatever they want. This is kind of like what it went back to 2016 when he was on MSNBC and said, you know what I would like to see? I would like to see when you could punch him and nothing get done over it. We're literally reliving Jim Crow type situations.
We are.
Right now in 2026. People are getting hung. Nothing's getting done about it. They're hiding things. They're covering it up and just want us to just act as if like we don't see it, but it's there. And like Marquel said, the revolution is being televised because you got people like us on the ground fighting, telling the truth, telling the real stories as they should be. So I thank you for coming.
Marquel and I, we have a project that's coming up. I'm not going to say what it is, but we're working on something really, really big for impacted families. And it's going to be huge. It's going to really, it's going to be something that's going to change some real laws and some real stuff going on. So look out for it. Look out for it.
That's awesome. That's always good to hear. And, you know, me down here, I'm working on Waukesha's Law for North Carolina, you know, because that definitely needs to be passed. Yes, so yes. I thank you for taking the time to come down, come to the pot, be vulnerable, share about your son. And I think maybe next time we could cover the entrepreneur side of you and what you do as well.
Because I'm definitely willing to come back, and I could bring some folks with me.
Hey, listen, I'm all for it. I can have up to 10 people on this John at one time, so we can have a ball.
With me, yeah, because it's a lot of people that I know that would love. They love different platforms and stuff. So yeah, I got some folks for you.
Hey, listen, I'm all for it. All right, so stay on the line. Don't hang up or nothing. I'm going to close the show out, and then we're going to talk for a bit.
Okay, cool beans.
All right. Folks, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Ashley came and told the story of her son, Jalen McKenzie, who was murdered by the police. And we want accountability, justice for Jalen. Straight like that. And matter of fact, I'm gonna do it the way I really carry it, because you know it's Wednesday, it's hump day, and the energy is up. I don't know why people start calling me when I'm on this thing, but my phone is buzzing right now, and I'm not answering you right now, my friend. But like I said, I'm gonna carry it like I want to carry it today, and I'm gonna get into my energy. Justice for Jalen. You know what I mean? Straight like that. Justice for Ashley. You know what I mean? Black Lives Matter grassroots is Black Lives Matter. Let's be clear on that. Once again, it's your boy Tigmatic, Collywood TV, Collywood Radio, Dollar Radio, Going In Radio, 105.7 The Phase, DamaniBrand.com, NorthShadeDemoreBoutique.com, and Vibes Beverages. So, folks, have a good night. Be the light in somebody's life, and put God first, because that's the ultimate light. Peace.
What's up, y'all? Tune into the Pop Podcast with Tigmatic.
Radio for the Pop Podcast with your boy Tigmatic. Interview.
Pop Podcast, stirring the pot.
So tune into the Pop Podcast with Tigmatic on Collywood TV.
Tune in to the Pop Podcast, my boy Tigmatic.
And Going In Radio. You might get some good music and some knowledge.